Dan, can you hear me?
Hey, uh, as always, I am Daniel Andrew Boyd, and I'm running around getting the links up as quickly as possible. Cut myself funny. Um, I will be with you shortly.
All right. So, Dan, can you hear me
No,
now?
I can't hear anything. That's not right.
Oh, humbug.
Can I make you? How do I make you?
Do I need to leave and come back?
There we go.
You can hear me now. Yay. I'm excited if you can hear me now. Hello, Susan. Good to see you. It's been a week.
Um, what am I missing? Copy invite link.
That's wonderful, Susan. She can hear both of us. Yay.
Oh, good. So today we're going to be talking about customer retention. I am one of the things is start your shows on time. And if you're watching this after the fact, uh, scrub ahead about 4 minutes. That's about how long it's usually takes us to find the live feeds and share it in the different places that we need to share it so that everybody knows that we're live. Tell me about how your week has been. You hung out with me
I did. I got a chance to see
in real
you
life.
in real life twice, both Saturday. Well, yes, Saturday and Sunday, to be perfectly honest. I
True.
saw you on Friday briefly as I dipped into the um, the the podcast on Friday from Wilmette Public Library, and then after that, I saw you on Saturday night where you were at a show in which I was telling, and then I saw you Sunday at the Story Luck show where you were hosting, and I filled in. It was pretty cool. It
Yeah,
was
it
pretty
does.
cool.
I'm glad that that worked out as well as it did. I felt. I know you were thinking about doing a walk up slot and then trouncing everyone,
I don't know about all that
but but
trouncing stuff.
but I think the way it worked out was best. I'm really excited to see what Sean is going to bring for his 10-minute story to the next one.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited for that. All those things are it's wonderful to see us discuss these things and then see you implement them along the way. And
Yeah, yeah.
also we have the opportunity to tweak as we see fit. Um, and I will be implementing some of the things that we discuss here with Teller's Bridge back here in Iowa. I appreciate this. That this is not abstract; it's concrete. We have genuine things about which we do. We're talking about customer retention.
Yeah. Is that how you think about this stuff?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have to discuss customer retention, and it has to be on everybody's mind. Uh, we have a finite amount of time. At with Teller's Bridge, it's about 2 hours, and we do both of our shows in restaurant slash bars. Right?
Hmm.
Oh, there's Sean. There's another Sean, Sean Wellington. Greetings and
Wait, who's
salutations.
this? There's more than one Sean here?
Well, we were talking about there's a Sean
No.
who hangs out at Storylook events
No. There's
from
only room
Gary,
for one
Indiana.
here tonight, gentlemen.
Oh my gosh, we're having a genuine Highlander moment right here. There can be only one. Did I just show my age?
I,
Am
I,
I?
I wanted I know you're going to get back to why we're here, but I do want to ask, Kory, is that a virtual background, or are you somewhere nicer than where you live?
Oh, the
It's
truth is, it's a virtual background, Sean.
nice. It's nice.
It is. I know. I mean, I have dreams of having deep pockets like yours.
So sorry, Dan, you're running the show. We got to talk about what? What are we talking about?
We're talking about so it's been 4 weeks of how to produce a live show, and we've gone through a bunch of different things. And today, last week was marketing and different things that we've tried, and this is sort of an offshoot of that. And that the offshoot is customer retention.
Right. So before we get started too deep into this, Sean, we did venue selection. The first week, talent recruitment. The second week, last week was marketing and promotion. This week is customer retention. And then
we're going to take a week or two off.
Right.
And we're going to come back and we're going to do it again and do it even slicker.
And I'm telling a 10-minute story here. I'm just learning about this.
No. That was the other Sean.
Oh,
It was the other Chicago Sean.
Another Sean that was invited to tell a story, but this Sean was
not here. No, you're confusticated. The confustication is
Let me know how I can add to this discussion in all seriousness.
He's teasing you. Okay. So, yeah. Let's just shoot it straight to the guest. Sean, you do mostly virtual shows.
Mostly did, but yes.
Yeah. Do you think of your podcast as a show?
Which podcast? The Suicide Noted podcast?
Mm-hmm.
I think of it as I think you need to be entertaining. I think you need to do things in a way that are more likely that people will not leave and want to come back. And I'm not going out of my way or trying to stretch this into retention. But yeah, 100. Yeah, it's a little different, but there's certainly some overlap. And we can talk about that if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I am going to say that with the Storyluck show right now, we do record it. I haven't gotten any of the podcasts up, but it is a piece of the puzzle that I found that it helped with retention, because people from the audience would be like, I download it and I listen to it, and it, reminds them to show up. It's just one more touch point for them. And they're like, oh, I really like that story, so I listened to it a couple times.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
And giving the people that good feeling. It also creates this ability, again, to the marketing, that people can, with editing skills, can cut out their stories, or they can say, I'm 15 minutes into this. Listen to mine, and then they email it out to people or link to people.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And any of that stuff is nice and creates that feeling of like continuity. And then going off the idea of continuity with my show in particular, that's one of the nice things that we do, is that the prize, so to speak, is at the end, one of the people come back. So there's a little bit of, for the regulars, they want to see, they made, a choice to pick somebody. And so they're like, I actually do want to see what his next story is. And I think that helps us with this idea of retention. Kory, what are some things you do to get people so that it becomes that they want to come back?
Well, first of all, I think your performers and your MC need to be accessible. and you've got to do a lot of that press the flesh stuff. You've got to uh, greet people, welcome them in, constantly court them through your, and the better word that I've got is interstitial. All your transitional stuff needs to be audience oriented so that they feel that they're a part of the show, that they are contributing something. When I host our Teller's Bridge shows, I say often at the time, at the very beginning, that we are going to build a story together. And I do that construction with Mad Libs and call out tables or uh, give general directions. I need a noun, I need an adjective. And then at the bottom of the first half of the show, or just, and also sometimes before the closer, I read off the stories that we've created together, and they usually are funny and make the audience light, and that feels good. But a lot of
Yeah.
it is all about, again, as we've talked before, storytelling is about relationships, and storytelling retention is also about relationships as well.
Yeah, I like that sort of reframing of things where giving the audience kind of agency,
Mm-hmm.
we are going to build it together. And I
Right.
think that more seasoned audiences who go to live events feel that way, that they're kind of invested in it. It's
Right.
not just an entertainment. They know if they laugh loudly, if they're paying attention, it's a better show for everybody else.
Agreed.
And putting those sorts of thoughts into people's heads and just saying it explicitly. If you think about how TV shows are done with like applause lights and ringers come up beforehand to sort of butter people up, um, that's all about being like, you guys are part of this. We're
Right.
creating this together, just like you said.
Mm.
One of the things that I do at the Storyluck show is I make everybody come up and sign the waiver form in front of me. And so I have to say like hello to them. I think I'm gonna have to make some sort of shift there as we grow because I'm just not gonna get through them fast enough.
Right.
And I got some different ideas. We used to run around with like two or three people with phones or laptops would have people put stuff in, and we might do it that way. But again, it's like this idea of even if it's not me, having a little bit of human contact in
Definitely.
there. I
Definitely.
I really like having. Uh, and I can't tell you how many shows in Chicago I've been to, especially comedy shows, where it's like 10 people are in the crowd and nobody said hi to me.
Mm.
Right. Oh, been there, done that.
Yeah. And it's crazy.
Right. It's
It's
not like
crazy.
it's not like you're invisible. You can be seen, and you can certainly be heard, and then to be ignored, actually, that's an awful feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? This is going to be for both of you. Do you ever do the post mortem of your show and try to figure out how to do it better? Because from my manufacturing days, we would call this continuous improvement. You look at what you did and how would you do it better the next time?
Hmm. With respect to thinking about retention or just overall?
Um, let's do C, all of the above.
Hmm. Yeah, for me, I mean, so and just some context. You guys have done more in-person shows. I've done some way more online. You guys were part of some of them for a few years, and then I trailed it off a lot just because people weren't coming. Part of that was just whatever, a unique time in history.
Right.
Yeah, I would always ask a few people, what could we do better? You know, for the audience, I don't know how many people are here. Like Dan and Kory are in a storytelling group for years. So I had a group of humans that I trusted, and we're often at the shows, and I could ask them, what could we do better? What could I do better? You know, so that's valuable, sure. And I would imagine, just kind of connecting it back to the theme here or the idea, part of that is certainly so people can enjoy the show, and what happens when they enjoy the show, probably going to come back to the next show. So,
Agreed.
Sure.
Yeah, so for the Storyluck show, I stay late, and again, ours is set up that it's a potluck, so there's this like sort of 30 minutes afterwards where people are very comfortable mingling. It's
Right.
not like a moth or a story slam where it's like it's over and then everybody rushes to the door. And I get some insight. Like people are quick to be like, I didn't like this one thing. And that's valuable if they feel strong enough to say it immediately. I, for the first time, set up a straight up survey to go out after the show. And probably that will be a continuous thing. But in our normal loop, it's like then everybody goes, we clean up. Some of us go out afterwards, and some of that is just building camaraderie between the hosts and the volunteers and giving us some social time. But I spend that time tallying the points that get doled out during the show, and then I spend that time plugging in emails if I can get both of them done. And it's just a natural extension for people to be like, what did I like about it? Who did I like? What could be better? And I have a formal talk with my co-host usually a week after. That way I've got more space and
Right.
we aren't critiquing each other immediately after. That Susan, I don't think that's true. I think that you are like, it's late and I have work in the morning.
No, maybe you're blowing Susan off and she's pissed.
That's Susan,
Let me
you are allowed to go to Adam's after the show.
Yeah. By the way, I have a slight delay in my video. I don't know if that's making it weird to hear or see me, but you know, because you guys have different shows. Like, so I had a curated show for a while. I had an open mic for a while. I had a slam, which isn't technically done yet, but it's been a minute since we had one. And a couple of other kinds of events, and they're also unique and different. But so, and I think I'm thinking about, because one of the things that comes to my head is if you have a show that is really good with good stories, told well, and a host that whatever the format is, that does a nice job, isn't that the number one way to get people to come back? Just be good.
I think so. Dan has a hook because Storyluck, it's a potluck, and this past one on Sunday,
right,
the food was phenomenal.
Yeah,
and I think that's it wasn't just chips and salsa. There was a variety of food and food types, and that is
knishes. Dan, did you bring out the potato knishes? Some mustard? Come on.
There were pierogies. Mm-hmm. There were some pierogies there that were really attractive.
Yeah, Dan's thing is,
you'd almost marry him.
Dan, your thing is more.
Don't judge.
I haven't been to the Dan show, but it sounds more like, from what I've heard, it's more. Yeah, there are stories, but it's there's other things happening. It's more of a really like intentional community building.
Right.
So stories are part of that. Whereas the stuff I've done, stories were a big part of it. I would always do something. Now I was on Zoom mostly, but I was virtual. So I was always trying to think about ways, and there are people that see this that might be on virtual. I was always thinking, using the platform I'm on, how do I engage the most, right? So, for example, like if you have a question for a teller, you can message them directly. Like I was always thinking with the polling for slams, how can I engage people? I think the polling for the 99-second slam is one of the reasons people went. It's kind of a cool feature. And so they
Yeah.
can vote a few times or more than that. And that's fun. So I don't know if there's not really necessarily an equivalent for in person that I'm aware of, but all the things you were saying earlier to keep people involved and engaged and connected, of course, we would stay afterwards on Zoom. Typically, you guys were the people that would stay after, right? And we would talk. And I think that helped. One of the things I should have improved upon or would have liked to have done better is like in between show communication, right? Like I was relying mostly on either Facebook or Eventbrite to send out maybe like automated information, emails, reminders, and that's good, but I probably could have been better about personalizing things more. So that's just a personal thought. Like I was just thinking about what could I have done better. That's one thing that comes to mind. So I don't know if I'm
that's a piece that's really important to me, is that I do a very time-consuming handwritten one afterwards.
No, yeah, you're
And
wrong.
I don't think I did so good after this last show because there was stuff on my mind. But yeah, I write a thank you note to everybody and it just goes out to the people who were at that show.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right. And it's not like my whole email list sees it. They get something else.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense, right?
Yeah. And then I've started using a program called Bonjoro. And the first time somebody signs up to our email, about a week or two after the show, I go in and I record a video thanking them for showing up to the show. And I sort of explain what what our email list is all about. And I'm like, we do 3 things. We promote shows. We tell you about storytelling tips, and we tell stories in our emails. And then the third thing is we ask for donations and volunteers. And so just to kind of prime them that they're coming, but also have it be just one more touch point that it's hyper personalized. And people respond to that at a high frequency. They're like, I can't believe you did a whole video. But really, the video's easier than typing it up because you don't second guess yourself as much.
Right. No, that's all really insightful, because I'm jotting down notes. It's not that I'm being unattentive. I'm jotting down notes. Yeah. So what we're seeing, especially based out of out of your show, is I'm hearing that this is a mix of old school and technology as well. So you're using video and you're using a targeted email of the people that were there at the show to create that personalized bond. That's good stuff. What's interesting also is, I think this is bearing fruit for you. You had 51 people at your show on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That's significant.
I wanted more.
Well, of course, but is 51 your?
That's my second highest in the last 12 months.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, and technically, there were a bunch of people got sick, so technically we sold more tickets than we've ever sold. We sold 62 tickets.
That's impressive. Thank you,
No.
Koto James. Thank you.
Oh, we got a bundle opportunity? Sweet.
Don't call that out.
Sorry.
Susan, before that, I think our biggest show was 170. And yeah, 170 was the most.
That's awesome.
Had.
That's huge, man.
Yeah, that was good, but that was back when I was doing the show many years ago.
Building it up over time.
So, yeah.
We did
but it's nice. I think that it's growing, faster, and we do have good retention. So I just need to get more people, because like 30 of the 50, probably more, were people who had seen it 3 or 4 times.
Nice. That was very nice. So was the 170 in the pre-COVID times?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You
know what I mean? The guy that does a sort of moth-like slam here, and he, similar model where they do the curated show like seasonally.
Mm-hmm.
They get a lot of people, at least 200 to their slams, and several hundred to their curated shows, and but he's been building it, like for 15 years.
Oh, ahoy.
And I don't even think he's like super hardcore with social media. I mean, I'm on his list. I don't get bombarded with stuff, but I think he really just was like community oriented. And this is going to sound weird, but I think it helped him. I think he invested a lot of money in his website, and it
that
looks
makes sense.
good, and his quality of the videos are very good, and it's just it feels professional. Don't know anything beyond that what he does in terms of retention, but I think once you get it going, and even with COVID, they probably shut down for a year or 6 months, a year, and they were
and now they're back.
Oh, easily back.
Yeah, people are into it.
And,
so
and
it's
I think he's a nonprofit. I know this isn't really what we're talking about, and I don't really know the model. I don't know if he makes money. I have no idea how all that works. But yeah, I mean, it's a decent...
there's definitely an audience for it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get out. Like here in Chicago, there's so many shows, and like out in Evanston at the one that Kory was doing before we saw this one was probably, what do you think, 100 plus, 120?
Yeah, 120 on Saturday.
Yeah,
I do have a question though, Sean. What's the regularity of that show?
They do a slam probably monthly with a month off here and there. And then, if I had to guess, I'd say 8 a year with a few curated, whatever that's called. It's not a slam, right? They get 4 or 5 tellers, longer stories. That's what they do, and a nicer, bigger venue. And that's about all they do, but that's it. So yeah, I mean, I've gone there where they don't do 10 names, they do 8. I
think that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone there when there are 8 or 9 or 10 people in the hat, but I've also gone there when there was like 25. This isn't Chicago or New York. It's a smaller market, but he is not the only game in town, but the main game in town. And I was trying to, for a minute thinking I wanted to compete with that, but then I just was like, I don't know. The live.
It's a lot of work.
When I say live,
to
I mean
do a
in
live
person.
show.
That's what I mean. Like,
to
live
do it
stuff,
in person.
It's just so much work. And if you don't set yourself up to get the right help, or play a bit of a long game, it's just hard.
Yeah.
It just is, you know.
So I guess one of the spins on that sort of situation is to say there's another way to do it, right? We're talking about creating shows as a business, as something that you want to grow. You want to have a podcast with it. You want to have it be sort of a lead gen to your teaching or some other it's a piece of an engine that does something else for you. But there's another way to do these shows, and that's one of the reasons Kory and I want to make the book is
Whoa, stop. Well,
anybody can
what?
go
There's a book?
and anybody can go and just do this. Like you can do this in your bedroom. You can invite people to your house. And the barrier to entry to starting your own show is very small. If you want to do it where you're making a profit at it, that's nearly impossible. You got to get sponsors, you've got to get grants, you've got to do things like any sort of live theater. Tickets aren't going to be worth it.
That model,
because people don't pay enough money.
Yeah. Well, but the model itself doesn't make it possible with perhaps a handful of exceptions to make a profit. It doesn't exist. You just do the math, right?
Yeah.
With ticket sales and whatever else, you're like, oh
yeah. Any theater here in Chicago, ticket sales are 30 to 50% of the money they bring in. Right. Somewhere in that range.
You always need some supplemental something.
Yep. You need donors, you need sponsors, and you need to sell merch and do all those little things.
You'll make money on the concession side if you're reasonably pricing.
If you have unreasonable pricing.
Well,
you want to charge as much as possible. It's much better to sell 3 candy bars at $5 a piece than sell 10 candy bars for $1 a piece.
Well, yeah. I mean, I understand that.
Yeah. I know you just want to eat candy for cheap. I can hear you, but that's not how theaters get paid.
Full transparency. You're right.
But in terms of the book, the plan for this series, and that's why we're going to do it again, is to take our notes from this. This series of 4 has just been sort of a discussion where we're going through this together, and then I'm hoping that the next one will be more pointed and be a little more explicitly we're teaching this stuff.
Right. And it'll be available as a PDF, not hardbound or anything like that. But if you're interested in doing a live show, anybody in the audience would be able to say, hey, Dan, Kory, where can I get this? And they might go through Storyluck. They might reach out through Teller's Bridge. They might reach out through either of us directly and just be like, oh, here we are. We've got this. Now that barrier to entry is lower, much like what Dan just said.
Wait, can I ask what book?
So we're just building a PDF or an ebook, if you will, that of things to consider when you are about to start doing a live lit show. The things that we talked about before, venues, venue selection, talent recruitment, marketing and promotion, event logistics, and audience engagement. All those sorts of things are going to be in there. We're hoping with that kind of outline, we'll be able to bring in stories, personalized stories, and we will have also walked through this enough based on our own experiences so that it's a quick PDF that someone can pick up.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Susan. I mean, we can throw it up on KDP without too much hassle so people can see it. That's the goal.
That's a good goal.
It also makes us authors.
Another book that I would like to do, I think after this one, is just reach out with a questionnaire to everyone I know who's ever hosted and get answers and just throw that into a book, an easy book.
So you mean like
the Q&A type books are good. Yeah.
Yeah. Easy to make.
Easy to make.
And it's something that I'm interested in, and both of these things I haven't found. Like how to be a good host. What are things you're looking for? And I know that there's stuff that irks me. Let's do another round of applause, said, 16 times.
Right.
Really just like
there's a lot of things that irk me with hosts if we want to go there.
have some.
I don't know if that's around. That's part of the book, I'm sure. Because you guys have divided this up into 4 sort of conversations that probably room for others if you had the time. But
absolutely,
the host is an interesting spot, man. It's one of those things I always feel like sometimes you can break rules, quote unquote, and get away with it, but other people can follow it and they're boring. Like it's personality, it's the little things, it's the eye contact in the right moment. It's it's like one of these almost impossible to quantify things that make someone more, I guess, likable or more interesting or whatever it is, right? You say the same thing about dating people or whatever. It's like, what is the thing? It's like, I don't know.
But I think you kind of systematize it in that you say, like, Kory talked about he does Mad Libs with the audience. That sort of thing, like, what is your version of that? Like, I went to a show where the guy would read Amazon 1-star reviews of famous books, and then he'd be like, get the audience to guess. And that was the back and forth. At the Moth, they have people submit 1-sentence stories, and they read them periodically throughout the night. Everybody has something, and that compiling a list of those things, like find out what is your thing. You can kind of see some of the similarities. Right. I think they're all touching on call and response.
The one thing, I mean, if we are going to talk about some cautions, it's the sin of familiarity. You got to know your boundaries, and that's all I'm going to say with regard to that. Don't assume you know someone so well that you can insult them without having their permission.
That is interesting this week, but we'll leave it at that.
Oh, geez. Oh, Lord. That wasn't what I was trying to get
Just gotta say that, and that's all I'm going to say.
No, it's for us with Teller's Bridge. There is a level of familiarity because we've been doing these shows for years. And we have practices, and we'll rib each other, and that's okay. And I wouldn't rib somebody that I didn't know well, especially a new storyteller. I wouldn't rib them, not at all.
For sure.
Yeah. There is a joy in using a callback here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone likes to hear their name. Everyone likes to be acknowledged. And using those kinds of techniques as, and also, to the greatest extent possible, get the names right. If you don't have,
I'm so bad at it.
Basic life stuff beyond live shows or story stuff.
Well,
this is just
but still,
people mess it up all the time. The other thing though about getting names right and like doing callbacks is that's one of the pieces of my email after the show is like, what are the moments that I can pick on, not just of the tellers. I'm trying to find things that happened that I saw happen between people in the audience.
Right.
So I can be like, so-and-so did this. And even if you hit one or two of those, everybody know, like, there's that feeling of being seen.
Right. when I talk about, I mean, it does indeed seem to be basic. Yes, we from Susan, we have a person starting work Monday and no one knows how to say his name. Get the phonetic spelling of, or the phonetic pronunciation, and it makes a big
Ooh.
difference.
I really like, by the way, Kory. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, that way you can't butcher it, because if I see an Eastern European name with 16 consonants and one vowel, I'm having a hard time with it. So how would you say that? How would you break that down into syllables and say it slowly so I can write it down? Sounds like, and then when I get that, there you go.
I like that just sorry, I'm gonna digress here a second, but I like that Restream puts Facebook comments, like you could see them right on Restream.
Yeah, that's a nice little add-on.
Is it the free version or the paid version?
I think that works with the free version, but this is the paid version.
Restream, man. This is like one level up if I wanted to take my podcast more seriously. Because is this recording locally?
No,
Or-
I'm not running it through OBS.
No, I don't know
But
if you
I
need to run it
could.
through OBS, but like Riverside, for example, like that's why
I can get the download
people
from
do like
them.
Riverside over Zoom, because, and I don't know all the details, but like, yes, on Zoom you can record both in the cloud and locally, meaning like on your laptop or computer, but Riverside makes it easier. Anyway, the pros use things like Riverside, and I don't, so I'm not a pro. That's all I'm
Gotcha.
saying. I don't even know why I'm here, because you guys are pros and I'm not a pro. I'm an amateur. I'm green.
No.
You might be wearing
One
green,
of the things that
but you're
got
not
brought
green.
up is this idea of hanging out after the show when you're doing a virtual one of these. And a thing that I do that I personally like, and I've only gotten negative feedback, but I like it so much that I always do it, is I change the venue. The digital venue changes. If you want to hang out with us after the show, you've got to show up somewhere else.
Ah, okay. I didn't do that. That's interesting. Okay.
And I'm trying to create that sense of like, we're going on an adventure together. Take 5 minutes, go get a glass of water. We'll meet you back at the Discord. We'll meet you, if we were on Google Meet, we'll meet you at this Zoom link. If we're on, that sort of thing. It's usually the Discord, and then I'm trying to get people on Discord, but the storytelling community skews older, and so it's not the best venue for them.
Dan, I have a question for both of you, and I think this is very relevant. It may have come up in the past month, but for each of you, so these are two different answers, obviously. With Kory, with your main thing with Teller's Bridge, your show,
Yeah,
and Dan with your Storyluck show, like I guess, let me just start with Dan and then we'll go to Kory. Like, what is the big vision? What is the big goal?
With the Story Luck show, right now, my goal is I'm going to butcher this guy's name. We've got a mutual friend, I think all three of us, John Albert. Do you know that guy? Yeah, Albert. Am I the only one who knows him?
I'll have to check. Via Facebook? How do you spell the last name?
Yeah. Aubert.
Oh, you mean Albert?
Yeah.
It would appear that we are friends.
Okay. So anyway, he's got a show.
Oh no, we're not. I have 29. I have 29
different Aubers. Well, he's got to show 400. He gets 400 people to show up to his, moth style show.
What makes it so good, or is it not?
I think it's just that there's enough people that want this, and you've got to get it to them. I mean, I'm sure his show is good. I'm
Where
sure
is he
he's got good
located?
tellers and things out west somewhere.
Oh, it's not Chicago. Okay.
Yeah. And I just feel like,
That'd
our
be sweet.
Grand Slams are in that realm that big. No, it's a live show.
No,
Susan.
but who's
And
Grant?
so, like, that's a long-term goal for me. But
What?
the major thing
So more
is this
people,
year we
right?
are getting sponsors. We're going for grants, and we're going to do it that way. But the big thing for Storyluck is this idea of it becomes a pipeline. I really do like teaching one-on-one with people,
Yeah.
and I like that better than the cohort classes
Hmm.
where it's a bunch of people. And I'm happy if I can get one or two clients a month. And I think that once we get to a certain number, that that'll be my sort of lead generator. I can be there and I can
Right.
be
Right.
saying at the end of the show if this is something that, any right now my pitch is anybody can come up here. Like the open mic is a true open mic, but I
Yeah.
know that there's people in the audience right now who have said month after month, I'm going to sign up.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
sit at
Sure.
home and they think
Sure.
about their story and they don't do
Yeah.
it.
Right.
And those people should do it one-on-one with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to come with a practice story
Yeah.
and not be really raw on your open mic. That's okay. And you see the different open micers, lots of people do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of my pitch, and that's my
So grow
thinking.
the show consistently, more people there, and that in and of itself is a win. And then more people, more
Yeah.
exposure, and then more people to help with their stories. And that's
Yeah.
and they'll pay you. I mean, let's be honest, that's part of it.
Right. And I have found it's something that I didn't do before, but I
Uh-huh.
have been finding just cold calling places and telling them the pitch and being like 50 to 100 people show up. I'm going to do 5 more shows this year. I'll put you in my flyer and
What are you talking about? Like Sal's Pizzeria?
like just
thing?
like yeah, stuff like that. Just local businesses and stuff like that. People have been very
Kory, pizza is an Italian food that was imported into the United States and is very popular in major cities outside of Iowa. Go on, Dan.
Oh my gosh! Did that develop in what century is this?
We're getting to you with your fucking story stuff. Dan's almost done.
No, I'm done. You can tell you what is your answer for what's your like sort of 5-year plan for Teller's Bridge?
And by the way, Dan's
ahead.
is an open mic. Yours is also you would consider like an open mic.
It's open mic with curated stories.
Okay, so like
So the
hybrid.
Teller's Bridge cohort, we have 6 or 8 regulars,
Mhm.
but if I have more people that want to come up and tell a story based on our theme, I can always cut a regular.
Yeah.
That was that's
Excuse me.
that's a big thing. What we're trying to do for us here at Teller's Bridge is increase the presence of storytelling in Eastern Iowa. We have 2 shows a month.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, if the demand were there, we might do more shows along the corridor, which is a highway corridor from the bottom of the state almost up to the top of the state. And if we found venues and interested storytellers, we would probably do more shows. Eventually, we want to have a storytelling festival.
More shows.
Right. Possibly more shows. Definitely, we're trying to establish a storytelling festival in Eastern Iowa as well. We've got a tentative date in the fall.
That's awesome, bro. Just sorry, just a quick question. And Iowa is part of the contiguous United States? I just want to make sure I'm clear on the same. Is that part of us, or was that like a different?
Yes, it is.
Okay, go on. Just want to make
Yes.
sure context. Like I need to know. Okay.
Just, I mean, we are part of. We're on the other side of the Mississippi.
Right.
I don't know whether you've ever been on this side of the Mississippi or not.
I'm sure. I've heard good things.
Well, I mean, I'm just here to help.
Right. So you want to expand the show. Festival sounds fantastic.
Right. And there are multiple festival models, and trying to find the right one is what we're attempting to do. I've been to a bunch of storytelling festivals throughout the Midwest, and trying to find the right one for us at this stage is perfect. The best thing is finding something small that you can scale up, as opposed to doing something huge and then being like, oh, that was just an abject failure. Let's scale down.
Right.
At the same time, it's fostering an appreciation of storytelling and trying to have more people step up out of the cornfield, so to speak. I'm using a field of dreams kind of analogy here, and have them approach the open mic with enthusiasm.
Are you is Teller's Bridge a nonprofit? Is it?
Yes, we just became a nonprofit.
Who made that happen?
Oh, Sue Schmidt,
a lawyer.
No, Sue is
I think
Sue
like
is the spirit
senior care someone.
She rocks.
Right?
Yeah, she used to be.
I remember a story she told with maybe on 7x7 back in the day, where it was about her taking care of somebody or helping somebody with Alzheimer's. So I think she takes care. That's her work, right?
No, that was what she used to do before she retired.
Oh,
she doesn't do that anymore. What's cool is that there are an abundance of resources. Like the University of Iowa Law School has a nonprofit center, and using that just helped immeasurably, or immensely. Just pow. We're working toward that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
We are coming in on the 8 p.m. Central. Just checking in to see, is there anything else we want to touch on before we say goodbye? About retention of your customers?
Give them pizza.
I think in a recap, like what are the hot takes? The hot takes are email them often. The hot takes are it really starts through the whole customer journey.
Mm-hmm.
During the show, make sure you're having connections with people. So when they come in, be saying hello, make as many little interpersonal touch points.
For sure.
As you can.
Make it as easy for people also. This probably came up. It's probably obvious, but make it easy for people to do stuff. Like make it easy to buy tickets.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make people jump through hoops. If you know, it's hard. Some people don't understand platforms and stuff. I get it. Like just like how many people are you going to lose if they have to jump through this hoop and that hoop? They're done. They're done. So, that's it then. Make it easy if you can.
We didn't touch on merchandise.
Yeah, do you think that helps with retention?
Well, yeah, I think so. I think if you have the opportunity to wear a logoed t-shirt because you earned it, we give those away if you tell a story, right? If you tell a story, you get black Teller's Bridge shirt with the white font and the white logo on it.
Oh, that's cool.
And to be able to do that, everybody likes. I mean, promotional products at this stage are big engines for people to do things. Because once you have that t-shirt and you felt pretty good about yourself, you're a lot of times going to want to get up and tell another story.
Do they don't get a second t-shirt?
No.
It's just the first
you give
time.
them a t-shirt?
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. If you tell a story for the first time, you win a t-shirt.
Haven't I shown you the logo and all that? Hang on.
Yeah, the logo's
I
great.
just didn't know. I didn't know I got a t-shirt if I would go to Iowa.
Yeah,
and
well,
go.
it's
I
not
just
the
need-
edge
I
of the
just- I
earth.
have to get my passport
Yeah,
renewed if I want to go
this
to
is a
Iowa.
problem that I have. Is I am a no logo person, and when I get people to be like, "I want the Storyluck logo," I'm like, "No, you don't want to be branded."
Storyluck
So
has a
we
logo.
have a
though,
ton
'cause-
of really cool T-shirts, but they're all very artsy.
I mean, Storyluck has a logo. I've seen it.
We have a logo, yeah. We just don't have it on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
And people do ask. They're like, "Well, I just want to buy the Storyluck T-shirt." And so this might have convinced me that maybe for the June show I'll have those printed up and
It doesn't have to be a
made.
T-shirt. Also, it could be any number of things, right? It could be like a hat, a bandana, a bag. I mean, this,
Sure, but I think the
T-shirts.
T-shirt's the one.
T-shirt.
To
And
walk around.
Kory,
I guess
I
a
don't know
tote.
if Corey's still here, but
I feel
Yes,
like
I'm still here.
he's changing.
I'm
No.
just saying right now. Oh, there's the shirt. I would love a shirt like that. I would love to tell a story. Thing is, got to renew my passport.
To get to Iowa.
Yeah, and
Jeez.
so that might take some time.
We have these in long sleeve and short sleeve. We can order
Oh
these.
man, I want.
You
a
have
long
them in
sleeve.
no sleeve.
That almost makes me want to come down to Iowa.
Wait a second. Corey's coming up to Chicago, but you're not taking your ass down to Iowa. What the?
Yeah,
I've
there's no
never-
reciprocity here.
I can barely get to anywhere.
You
I can't believe
barely
I
get
went
the
to-
south side of Chicago.
To Evanston. I can't believe I'm so mad. I'm so mad about that Evanston show. All right. Before I get myself in trouble and make enemies, I'm saying goodnight. I think we learned a lot, and
Go write your book. Go write your book.
Yeah, I'll see. We're gonna take a week, maybe 2 weeks off, but it'll be in the
What's the next series?
the
about?
group for personal narrative crafting and telling stories on Facebook.
What's
Okay.
the next? But what do you know? What the next one is?
The next one will be this, but it'll be way more streamlined.
Okay.
We'll do these 4 again, but after having discussed it and having outlines and stuff like that. Boom.
All right.
Goodbye.